me. All right. Whenever you're ready, take it away.
The virtues prepare to battle the dragon-like worm that approaches. Makud is almost immediately swallowed up by the beast. In a panic, Abrashmina attempts to banish the creature to save him, but only ends up trapping both the worm and Makud in a pocket dimension. Swallowing a creature with horns was apparently a very bad idea, and Makud manages to make the creature retch him up and swallow him again with it, while all within the extra dimensional nothingness that he found himself in, along with the worm. The others prepare their assault as Abrashmina brings both of them back. Makud bursts out of the creature dramatically, and everyone is relieved that he had made it back safely. Although he is the one that thinks that they're the ones that vanished, not the other way around. They harvest the remains of the purple worm, gathering the stinger and about 15 meters of purple worm hide to sell or have crafted into armor. The rumbling returns as we realize that this worm was too small to be making the noises that we had heard. And we make quick preparations as the worm comes bursting out of the ground. This time we tried to be much better prepared with freedom of movement cast on Bryn and Makud and Declan. But unfortunately, it went after Abrashmina. And so it was much harder fought. Abrashmina goes unconscious while within the worm, which was very, very terrifying. Makud also goes down, but the Drider revived him. He gets, because you spell it the same way as the queen from The Witcher, and so I cannot but help to want to pronounce it that way
There's
every
no
single
N.
time. There's not an N in her name either.
Her name's Calanthe.
Oh, well. Never mind then. I want to pronounce it Calanthe.
Her name had a non-zero amount to do with Calanthe's name. But I'm just a professional, so I'm able to distinguish, you know.
Sure.
That's what you guys will pay for. So
Sure. But we kill this one too, harvesting some more worm bits, and continue on. The Drider returning to her mushroom swamp at the end of the day. Abrashmina and Eli talk a bit. I is for the ice that cools the drink of Istis. And finally, the virtues arrive at the Duragar outpost. The dwarves are very excited to see us and to have our help in killing all of the Illithid, which the idea of committing genocide on another species or race of people kind of put some of us at a little uncomfortable about that. But we retire for a bit to discuss the ramifications of these actions, and Abrashmina does a little bit of communion. And while the Elder Brain is what is granting the spurned his power, and there may be a way of ridding the Illithid of the influence of the Tomokepi wizards, there's no guarantee that that will save anyone from the Illithid's wrath. Killing the Elder Brain will accomplish their goals and will also kill all of the Illithid. The other outcomes to the situation are too unclear, and at this point, we do not see a real viable path to take that can guarantee our goals. And Abrashmina also followed up on Bryn's request and is told that Shay is not a danger to her friend. So yeah, Makud is of the mind that the Illithid attacked and tried to eat them, and that they have been told that all of them share one mind, so he does not think it is a bad thing to rid the world of them. And Bryn assures Declan that it's not a choice that is being made lightly, and we understand the weight of it. And to Abrashmina, once the ultimate decision has been made, that the elder brain must die, the next thing comes to whether or not this is a price they pay themselves, or do they include the Duragar in carrying some of the weight of it themselves. And that's where we left off.
Thank you very much for that. See, take your inspiration.
Thank
Cherish
you.
it forever.
I'll probably use it on my first roll.
Probably. So, you guys...
Cherish the memory.
Yeah. This one in particular. None of the others, just this one. So, you guys wake the next morning from your comfortable, if slightly too short beds, especially you, Makud. You had to sort of fold yourself into your bed, but, you know, they were strong. They could carry your weight, no problem. And Coben will meet you guys for breakfast, which is a very strange affair with some kind of mystery meat fried and toasted, and some kind of toasted grain bread that's slightly chewy. But it's good and it's hearty, fills you up. And he'll kind of turn to Declan and say, well, I'm to take you down to the city today, so you can meet the other elders and, well, we can form some kind of plan. Is there anything else you guys need to do before we go, or can we just go?
I had talked with somebody when we arrived about like doing some kind of crafting and stuff. Could I do
absolutely.
that there, or like
here or the city? Which do you mean? Sorry.
Oh, either. Could I do either one?
He says, well, you've been granted access to the forge here, but it's you know, there's more resources and more space in the city.
Let us continue on. I think the work that I need to do will require a good deal of time and effort.
All right.
If we could settle someplace for a little while, we'll formulate a plan, and that's when I'll work.
That sounds good. It won't take us long to get there.
We follow you.
Cool. And so you guys finish your breakfast, gets up, and he leads you through the kind of outpost, and he takes you up the winding staircase around the kind of wide pillar that is this place. It's like a small town almost. And you guys get right to the top, and like looking over the edge, you can't actually see the floor below. It's shrouded in darkness, and the ceiling is like 20 feet above you. And you come to the top, and you see a very bored, slightly tired-looking dwarf sitting in this otherwise featureless room, reading what looks to be this stone tablet and kind of chuckling to himself. He sort of looks up at you all and kind of scratches his beard a little bit, and he has a short conversation with Coben. His eyes are a bit wide when he sees Makud. And you guys
Can I
kind
see
of...
what he's reading?
Yeah, you can for sure have a look. Give me a quick perception check.
Not a great roll, but I am very perceptive. So 20.
20.
30-20.
30-20. So it's all in Durgar runes, so you can't read it per se, but you do see there's a like a picture, a very crudely carved like picture of a dwarf, bending over with his trousers down, like looking back towards the reader, and you get the impression it's just some kind of like tabloid,
like dirty comic kind of thing. Like raunchy humor.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's probably full of fart jokes and stuff. And so you see that this room kind of has like this square kind of stone doorway in it, and he kind of walks over and opens the door, and inside you see there's this kind of weird metal track on the floor that sort of disappears into the gloom beyond, and he kind of presses a button or pulls this kind of stone lever, and there's this like rattling noise, and you see come out of sight there's these 3 connected mine carts. They're like very, very large and very, very deep, and they've got these kind of like folding harnesses over the top of them to keep people in. You think like a dwarf could stand up in there and like not have their head poking out. And Coburn turns to you, Declan, and he says, kind of jerks his thumb to them and says, "The big guy will have to have one on his own, but the rest of us can share."
Very well. I'll explain that to Magood, and
Yeah.
it just seems, Magood, that you're a bit big for a car with all four of us. Would you mind taking a separate one?
I seem a bit big for everything down here.
It's true. I do appreciate your tolerance.
And
Okay. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
shrugs, acquiesces.
so you all kind of go over to get in the different mine carts, and Makud, you go for like the middle one, and the other dwarf kind of like stands up and puts a hand up and says, Bunto, and like points at the front one. You're supposed to get in the front, apparently.
Kind of like just looks around at the others and then shifts. I'm sure it's not much of a problem.
No. So it's actually not that bad for you. Like your knees are bent and you're kind of like sitting in it and your head's poking out the top a bit. But it's not too uncomfortable. Like it's a hard iron like floor, but you know, you're not too cramped. You know, it's not great, but it's not the worst thing you've ever sat in, I suppose. And the others can go two to a cart. So who wants to share with Coburn?
I'll go with Coburn.
For sure. So you guys sit in and the harnesses are pulled down, and Makud, the harness is kind of pulled over the top of your knees. And Coburn looks a little bit green as he sits in the cart and like kind of says...
You feeling all right?
He just goes, "Oh, I fucking hate this thing."
It's a bit jostly then.
And then he just kind of chuckles and like you see him kind of hold on to the side a little bit, like brace himself. And the dwarf reading the dirty slate just goes out like "Good up," and then pulls down a different lever. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna call back to Arbresh, Mina, and Brandon and Makud and just say, "Hang on tightly." Seems it's going to be bumpy.
And the cart starts moving very slowly forward. And then Makud, you're the only one who sees what's coming. And your stomach lurches as you just see this drop into nothingness.
Is there that...
Yeah,
go over the
everything.
top of the
Yeah,
roller
it's...
coaster, yeah.
And then it stops, and you hear this like clunk clunk. And then you're just flying downwards, like straight down, no kind of angle. Everyone just make me a quick strength saving throw, please.
Oh God. Can I make an athletics check instead?
Oh, really?
No,
You're
strength
gonna-
saving throw, please.
You're
Okay.
getting.
Well, I
you're
rolled it.
getting-
Sorry.
He's doing me dirty.
I got a natural 20, so that's a 21.
Yeah, you're fine. Oh, Coburn needs to as well. Yeah, he's fine.
I rolled low and got an 18, so...
You're fine. Bryn, Mina,
I got a 16.
you're fine. Mina,
I am cherishing my inspiration. So I am going to.
You called it.
I am going to keep this 2 that I rolled
Oh.
because I'm saving it.
Oh,
okay. So, Average Mina, you take...
and you die.
yeah.
Because
Die,
this
bad luck.
is just Rob trying to make me use my inspiration.
Absolutely it's not. So, you made the right choice. So, as it kind of flies down, everyone else was kind of braced against the sides of their cart. Mina, you kind of had your head leaning forward a little bit, and as the cart flies down, your head just cracks back against the back of the back of the cart. You take 4 bludgeoning damage.
Does
Do I
lesser
have a
restoration cure
concussion?
whiplash? That's what I wondered.
Yeah.
Yeah, make me a con save, please.
See that I'll be okay with.
And you lost... You forget your top level spell.
Oh, don't play me like that.
You lose
Dan.
1 wisdom.
You know what?
permanently.
You know what? I'm embracing it. 10.
Okay, you have 1 point of exhaustion and are considered concussed.
Oh no.
Oh.
So don't go to
She doesn't
sleep.
get any advantage because I had like just warned her like it would be bumpy.
No,
I did take the time.
you did, I suppose,
Okay.
but Coben's also done it before, and I didn't give him advantage. So,
Okay.
So, what's the light situation like? Is it like dark?
oh, it's
or...
pitch black, pitch black.
So basically, all I hear is a sickening thud.
It's Thunder Mountain.
Yeah,
We're in Thunder Mountain.
clank clank. Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You are. This is like stealth, Dan. If you've ever been to Alton Towers.
Yeah,
It's-
Thunder Mountain is the original
Is it?
roller coaster in the dark. The Disney.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thunder Mountain or Stealth isn't in the dark, I don't think. But it's
Oh,
just like
okay.
it's literally like straight up and then straight down, and that's it. That's the ride. You climb
Oh.
up for like a minute, and then you fall for 3 seconds, and then that's it.
Right. Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now.
I hate roller
Yeah,
coasters. I fucking hate roller coasters. Oh my
Love
god.
roller
I'm
coasters.
surprised that this is after we had that discussion. This is the first thing you're doing.
This is I mean this roller coasters for me are like one of my things. I don't have that many things, but roller coasters are a big one for me. I cannot
I
fucking do
love roller coasters.
them. You and me aren't friends anymore.
That's not true.
No, it's not true. But still, I don't like them. So we're not doing that when you come to London. Anyway, who is screaming?
in enjoyment.
In whatever you can decide if you enjoy it or if you don't, based on your role.
Dude fucking loves the rush.
Yeah, I imagine.
I mean, Declan definitely loves it. I think he.
Yeah, you
He's
guys-
he's a stiff dude, but he's an athlete. He loves danger. I think.
Yeah. I imagine Bryn probably would enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
She's kind of
Maybe try
that
that.
devil may care,
Yeah.
adrenaline junkie, I can see. Mina, you don't know where you are.
Yeah.
Maybe he's having a bad time.
Yeah. And so it,
Don't strap in before you get on the roller coaster. You're gonna have a bad time.
so you guys plummet for a long time. Like, it is so deep your like ears pop with pressure. And then it like levels out and you just go kind of flying through what appears to be like a smooth kind of built brick tunnel. Because obviously they wouldn't leave the track exposed in the Underdark, because that's a surefire way of getting yourself fucked up. And then finally you hear this like ear-splitting screech as the brakes kind of begin to kick in. You slow down, tick, 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 tick. And then eventually you come to the city of Kayurok, which I can put in the chat for you, where you see.
Would you mind putting it in the messenger chat?
For sure.
Thank you.
So you see what appears to be like almost like a carbon copy of the outpost, except this one is maybe 50, 60 times the size. You know, it's miles and miles and miles across, miles and miles and miles high. And like kind of looking back, you can see that there's this like descending tunnel kind of coming out of the ceiling and then leveling across as you guys actually like come out of the tunnel within the bounds of the city. And you see there's like a couple dwarves waiting for you, and they don't seem that surprised to see you. They are like staring, especially at Makud, but they don't seem like, you know, they weren't expecting you. And you kind of come to a stop finally. I imagine your hairs are all fucked up. There's
Well, thankfully, Albertina. Well, maybe her hair wrap is gone.
yeah, and there's a bit of a red stain on the back of the minecart where Mina was sitting, and you kind of are very pale as you get out. Coben like gets out and takes himself off to go vomit somewhere before coming back.
I'll go over to Mina and just say, would you like me to take a look at your head?
I'm not.
I'll go behind and I'll take my medical
sure.
kit out and put a salve on it. And,
Yeah. Do you want to make a quick medicine check for me?
yeah, sure.
Ow.
When your healer has a headache. Let's see.
Who heals the healer?
The guy with the medicine kit. Let's see. Sorry, 28.
28. Okay, so you've seen this kind of wound a million times before. She'll
I've
probably
given a lot of people concussions. I know how to treat them.
she'll probably be okay. But you need to be careful. Make sure she gets some treatment before she tries to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some magical healing, or you can bind it up.
Yeah.
For now.
I'll put a bandage around her head.
Yeah, for sure, no problem.
Do not fall asleep until you must tonight, and then make sure you see me before you go to sleep.
One of the dwarves approaches you guys. He looks like the rest of them, the kind of grey skin, the bright white hair. But he's wearing this kind of ceremonial looking robes with sort of these gold trim bits. And he looks very well kept. Like, his beard isn't unruly like Coben's. It's all tied in. He's got little gold and iron kind of rune shapes twisted in. And it's beautifully plaited down the front. And then he's got those little, I don't know what they're called, but they're mini plaits at the end of the mustache. It's very Viking. And he's got little iron rings at the end of them. And he walks up to you and he says, in common, though not fantastic common, he says, "Good day, my friends."
And a good day to you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, please, you first.
My name is Damaro. I am elder here.
A pleasure, tomorrow. I'm Declan Core, and this is Abrashmina, Bryn, and Makud.
Do you have more of those? Will we be taking more of those? And he points over his shoulder to the thing.
I do not know how to say. Varesh. This
you may speak in Terran. I'll say to him in Terran if it is easier for you.
And he'll kind of incline his head to you and just say minecart in Terran.
And I'll say it back in common. Minecart.
His common is pretty good, but he's got that kind of thing where he can't quite get the word sometimes.
If he's stumbling over something, Declan will try to help him.
Yeah, for sure. And he says, where is it? He says, Uki told us of your offer to help in the fight coming, and we are most grateful. And he kind of gives you a little half bow.
I guess anybody can speak. Declan's been talking this whole time, so now that somebody can talk to you guys, I'm gonna shut up.
We had some thoughts on the matter.
This can be discussed tonight. We will have a feast in your honor. But for now, I think your friend is very hurt, yes?
I think she'll be all right, but she could probably use a bit of healing.
I'm fine.
We have healers. We have healers who can attend to her. And he will kind of turn and nod to one of there's two guards flanking him. You see they're both wearing very, as I would describe, fucking metal armor. Metal in the music sense, not the, it's obviously in the whatever. It's something out of Mad Max a little bit. It's this kind of black iron plate mail, but you see the chest and torso is all studded with these sharp conical spikes, and the shoulders have these big spikes on them as well. And this is they look very imposing, and they kind of are both carrying two battle axes each on their hips in leather kind of thongs. and one of them kind of turns and strides away to go and find a healer. And Damara will say, "We have much to discuss, of course, and there, as I say, there will be feast tonight, where we can talk of war and of things to come. We are eager to hear what you sun kissers would like to say about this. We imagine you have wisdom that we do not, and equally we have wisdom you do not."
A fair exchange in this regard would be welcome. Sorry, go ahead, Brent.
Oh, I was just commenting on sun kissers.
My apologies. It is, he kind of like chuckles, but gives you like quite a deep bow. He says, "It is one of the names our people give surface dwellers, but it is hard to find a good way of saying where you are from, if that is clear."
As someone who is very far from home, I understand completely.
Do you have something you would prefer I call you?
No. I just think the thought of someone kissing the sun is very, it amuses me.
It is funny, yes, but inaccurate, I assume.
Yeah, you really wouldn't want to kiss the sun.
Maybe we could call you Windlickers instead. This is also a name.
I don't like that one.
You've never tried to lick the wind?
I tend to like other things, I suppose.
Oh.
I think in the common tongue, tomorrow, a more elegant name may be sun-kissed.
Ah, the sun kisses you. I like this name.
Exactly.
This is a good name. I shall have it written.
I wonder, tomorrow. Sorry, go ahead.
No. You go.
I had discussed with some of your associates in our previous stop the possibility of using a workshop if there is one available. I am a craftsman and would like to make use of the facilities if possible.
Of course.
I would be happy to share my techniques with some of your smiths as well.
And our techniques with you, of course. We have the greatest smithy under the world here. We would be honored for you to use it.
I have no doubt as to his caliber. So far, your civilization has proven to be honest and noble, and obviously industrious. And he kind of points around to the city.
He'll bow again and say, "Your words mean much to our people. If you would like, I can give you a tour of the city, and then we can go to the feast."
I'll look back to the group.
Or, though I think perhaps your friend should be healed and rest first. And you see one of the spiked soldiers like walking back towards you guys, and following him is a slightly kind of thinner, shorter bearded dwarf, in these like very pale, almost like moonlight colored robes, this sort of whitish blue. And they're kind of talking quietly in Durgar, and he kind of points at the at Mina, and the like the dwarf in the robe will sort of walk around to Mina and like kind of glance to Damaro and say something under his breath, or say something quietly. Damaro will say, "If you could sit down or kneel, lady, so that our healer may reach your head."
Abarashmina takes like a little bit longer than it should to process the request, and then sort of in an attempt to sit down in a controlled fashion doesn't quite do that, and just kind of
and
flat.
the healer will bow to you before handing you this sort of flask kind of like wooden. It kind of looks like a wooden like camping flask almost. It's been carved, and you can feel it's like warm to the touch as he puts it in your hands. And then he walks around behind you and gently lays his hands over the bandages. And you guys can see this kind of, again, like pale blue white light kind of emanating around Mina's head as her like head begins to heal. And Damara will say, you should drink this, lady. It will stave off the, how you say, head wobble. And he'll kind of like motion as if to say like someone's a bit loopy.
Abrashmina will drink it.
Yeah, it's very hot and doesn't taste very good. But you do feel your head begin to clear a little bit.
Am I still exhausted?
You are still exhausted.
Okay.
But you're not silly anymore, I suppose.
Okay.
I'll say to the healer that came in Terran, what is in this elixir, if I may ask?
Ah, you speak Terran. You are very wise. And he'll like give you a bow, and he'll say, there are a few things. Most are locally grown fungi. I can show you
curious.
at some time,
yes,
if you wish.
Please. Your name is?
I am Thuran.
Thoran. Yes, I will inquire after you at a later date if that is amenable to you.
Of course. And Damara will kind of turn to kind of lead you guys on, and Thuran will depart. Oh yeah?
Makuda's just gonna bring up as he's like starting to walk. We brought you big like obelisk of mind metal. I'm not sure if they got it to you yet.
We have not received it yet, but we understand that it will come shortly after you. We must say we are very grateful for your help in this. That will go a long way to protecting our people.
Good. And we have already started doing good.
And he will kind of nod and like appreciate your sort of honorable intention to do good. And he is he's very different to Coben. Like Coben is the kind of the typical like gruff, grumpy dwarf, and this guy's almost cosmopolitan. Like very well spoken, very, well spoken for someone who doesn't quite speak the language fluently, but he is like very
aristocratic kind of?
Not aristocratic, because he doesn't give you the impression that he's necessarily of higher station. He's just much more like respectful. Like Coben says fuck a lot and stuff, whereas this guy is very like...
This is Damaro you're talking about?
Yeah, Damaro. Yeah.
Damaro.
He just seems like he's just a bit more, a bit less of the rough and tumble sort.
Gotcha.
But you'll remember that Coben said there's no hierarchy in Durgar culture. They're all equal, but elders are respected for knowledge and that kind of thing. And this guy's definitely an elder. He's like a bit older than Coben looks, and Coben's very young for a dwarf. And so tomorrow will kind of lead you through the bottom section. You see like lots of soldiers running around. Most of them are just in kind of normal armor, but every now and then you see one in that like heavy spiked plate, and they kind of stick out as like they just look kind of meaner and like more tough, more elite. They give you a sense that they're like very powerful in what they do. So he'll kind of lead you around the bottom. You see all these soldiers running around, and you see there's like several more of the minecart tracks like leading out of here. It's almost like a train station. And he'll kind of lead you all into this like wooden rope lift, and he'll kind of like ring this bell. You guys like begin lifting up onto the next floor. And he says,
I don't envy like dwarves at the pulley. Like, what the fuck? Who's standing on this lift? It's just like Makood whistling innocently.
So the pulley is like, it goes up and then comes back down. So they see Makood, and you can see them like, there's two of them like at the rope, and they kind of look at each other. And they like every dwarf you've seen except the healer is like real strong. You know, they've got that kind of prop from rugby body where they're not ripped. They don't have any muscle definition, but they're built like fucking barrels. And like you see them like look at each other, kind of like shrug, and then they both like enlarge and go giant.
Yes.
To pull Makood up. And so it's it's a bit labored, but they get you up. It's a bit jerky. And Damaro kind of chuckles and says, "You are a very large man. I must introduce you to Kauri."
I am no man. I am Madhu. We live in the deserts above.
My apologies. I do not know much of the surface world, but I meant
he
no
like points
offense.
at Declan, and kind of like generally the others. They are human.
And he kind of like looks them up and down and says, "Ah, yes, I see that now." And he'll kind of like give you like a fucking humans kind of look.
Yeah. Madhu big, human small.
Yes. And your horns
like,
are
with his arm in the air, like.
Yeah. And he'll say, "And
who
you're."
is Kauri?
Kauri is the biggest of us. He is something of an entertainer, warrior type, you know. He fights for glory and in the pits. Yes, many people like to watch him fight.
The pits.
He says, "Yes, we have a pit named Fathak. It is a large area for fighting. Every week there is several fights, and well, Kauri is huge, the biggest dwarf I have ever seen, and he is our champion. He will lead many into battle."
Hello?
Can you guys not hear me?
Something's getting a little dicey.
Yeah.
in
I
the
kind of
connection.
got that he was the biggest dwarf and they went to see him fight, and that was about...
Yeah, sometimes